Welcome back to New Rockstars, WandaVision Episode 8. Spoiler warning, gave us some nice, juicy questions, including what is White Vision? What's going to happen in this finale episode? Are the kids all right? Are they going to be okay? Well, I'm Erik Voss. I'm here with Jessica Clemons on stereo, taking some stereo questions here. This is a bonus Q&A that we're doing with our listeners over there. We are recording this live the morning after the episode, and you can actually join us future weeks for the finale episode and for other after shows that we might do in the future by downloading stereo for free at stereo.com/newrockstars. Let us begin by taking our first question.
Boopity boop.
Do you think that Wanda's kids are actually alive?
Ooh, what a good question. So what have we learned about the kids in this episode? It seemed like they are, for sure, manifested magic, but that they are being used by Agatha in that final moment to try to manipulate Wanda, the way everything is being manipulated. We heard their voices echoing through the basement, but we didn't know exactly where they were in that basement, which is especially odd because that basement is supposed to be outside of the hex, right?
Is it?
So how
I
can
thought
the
it
kids
was
be
just...
kids?
Is it outside of the hex? I thought it was still inside the hex, but she put since she had the symbols, the magic on it, that she couldn't use her magic within it. Only the person that created that hex could use the magic in the basement, which was Agatha. I do think the children are. So I thought it was in there still, and I also think because she knows, because obviously Wanda's having a hard time understanding the fact that her children are not real, that she created this, and Agatha does know that. I think Agatha was taking control of the children and just manipulating their voices, literally like Annihilation, where it's like the animal is just like reciting the last words of the people it killed. I think it's just kind of like doing that, where it's just throwing its voices, because she's a witch. She obviously is making that stuff apparent. But I don't think the kids are real. I don't think the kids are real. Maybe their souls will go somewhere, but like, I don't think they're not real.
Yeah, I don't think they're real, but I think their souls could come back in the MCU because we know they're setting up the Young Avengers, right? We got Hawkeye. Kate Bishop is coming in the Hawkeye series. Cassie Lang is coming up in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and Wiccan and Speed, Billy and Tommy. If they wanted these kids just to be random kids that just faded away, they wouldn't call them Billy and Tommy. I think that is a sign that these kids are going to come back in some form, reincarnated in some form. Now, Billy and Tommy, like many things in the Scarlet Witch and Vision series, the story is never truly coherent or linear with how these people get brought into the world. And with Billy and Tommy are so freaking weird. Like, they start out as pieces of Mephisto's soul, like tricks, but then like Mephisto is like attacked, so he can't ever like fully stay in his full form until later. And then the kids get brought back into the universe as mutants who at first we don't really know that they are the same kids as who were Scarlet Witch's kids, but then they are later back defined as like, oh, those were the same kids and they're mutants, and that's why Wiccan's sorcery is like Wanda's sorcery. And so I don't think it's gonna be the same actors. I think these kids are a bit young, but I think they're gonna cast some bigger name actors to play them in a future Young Avengers team up on Disney Plus or in the MCU.
And can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it.
Now the question is just like how, what does real mean in the purposes of the Hex? Because we know that Vision in the Hex was just Wanda's magic, bringing him back. She did not steal Vision's corpse. And we know that it looks like Pietro is something similar that Agatha did, that she just used magic to incarnate him, and she puppets him around. So these kids look like they're sort of the same thing. So are they going to be pieces of Mephisto's soul? I think so. I think Unleash Hell Demon Spawn means that like next week it's going to be implied that they're pieces of a demon soul.
Demon Spawn. Yeah, you really hung up on that.
Unleash
the demon spawn.
I have a duty to be hung up on it.
It just opens so many more doors, which isn't a problem, but it opens so many more questions if their souls go into other things. It's like, so Vision does have a soul, and she created it.
Well,
she's God.
Yeah.
It's
so,
like,
but I think Vision,
so many things.
But what Vision's soul was already something a bit artificial to begin with. It was the Mind Stone's AI that was like, bleeding through the rest of his vibranium body, and that had a humanistic element to it because the Mind Stone has some sort of cosmic intelligence to it, and that mixed with all the other factors, sorcery in a way to make Vision have a quote unquote soul. So I think Wanda's capable through her Mind Stone derived powers. At this point, it's not Mind Stone derived; it's Mind Stone empowered powers, amplified powers. Was able to incarnate this version of Vision's soul, but it seems to be tied to her own memories. Right? He's not fully there with all of Vision's memories. It's not Vision as we knew him.
Yeah.
So I think she can bring up that soul, but I think these boys, as pieces of Mephisto's soul, I don't think they're true souls in the way that Herb has a soul, or Mrs. Hart has a soul. These other Westview people have a soul.
So we're back to now acknowledging Mephisto is in this. He has to be in this world, which you were already on board.
He doesn't have to. I just think there's a good chance
on board with. Yeah, well, I do think the kids are going somewhere, so they have to be attached tangentially or whatever to Mephisto or someone. Okay.
Let's take another question from our stereo listeners.
Did Wanda create Vibranium? Since Hayward was still tracking decaying Vibranium, how was he tracking that?
I asked this on Twitter. Because I was like, it's so confusing that she can create Vibranium and how that isn't a problem. Because they were tracking decaying Vibranium, unless that was a lie. Unless Cataracts was something else. But they were tracking Vision in there somehow. And so if they were tracking it by Vibranium, that means that this woman straight up created some material that is mirroring Vibranium or is Vibranium, which is possible, I guess, because she is ultimately the strongest person, but that itself is a problem. That's very dangerous if she is creating Vibranium.
Well, I think what we learned is that Wanda's ability to rewrite reality this way, and I think this is why Agatha's so blown away by her, she is a Nexus being. She can kind of create anything from her mind, and I think in this case, within this hex, Vision is made of Vibranium. Now, as we see, as he tries to step away from the hex, he starts to fall apart, and his pieces get sucked back into the hex. So I don't think, in this case, he can fully last and survive, because he doesn't have a corporeal form. Unlike, Monica's fish pants, based off of a Kevlar vest that came from the outside, and then it can go back out and still live on in some kind of Kevlar form that's been rewritten. Vision can't. But he, for the purposes within that hex, he still has a Vibranium form. She was able to create that. And that means she can create anything. She can create a whole, a cubic brick of Vibranium. She can create gold diamonds as much as she wants to do. Any kind of irradiating, just a huge supply of plutonium if she wanted to.
And that's where I think I keep getting tripped up on, because I'm like, that is utter power. That is straight insanity. But with me thinking that, I'm also not taking into effect how Doctor Strange is also very powerful, but he also uses his magic for good and controls it and doesn't use it to just steal money from a bank. So I think ultimately I'm like, Wanda can do anything, but Wanda in the comic books also could do everything, but she didn't do everything. She wasn't like, you know what, I'm gonna play God and just destroy it. Well, she did, but she kind of did, but she didn't do that every day. She wasn't like, I'm just gonna bring this plane down from the sky because I'm bored.
Right.
If she was a villain, she would be unstoppable. But that's, I think, because she's a good person, she's not going to be doing that stuff.
Well,
so
I think she might be a villain.
Well, I think she is
might become
in
a villain
this,
in the
but
next movie.
It's going to be insane. This woman can create Vibranium. If she can create Vibranium, but also, to be fair, I guess she's creating Vibranium in her world, in her hex. Right. Can she make Vibranium outside of the hex? And so,
well, it has to be in a reality that she creates, and I think that's why it's so important as we see the multiverse getting created. She is powerful to create new realities that project from her mind, but those realities are real to the people who live in them. And I think she needs to be that powerful in order to be such a threat in Multiverse of Madness. And if she couldn't create Vibranium, she wouldn't be as interesting of a Nexus being. She has to be able to do that.
True.
And even though it is God level power, I think the greater the power, the greater the cost. I mean, that's the classic Uncle Ben paraphrase, right? Great power comes great responsibility. I think the more God level she goes, the greater grief and brokenness she's gonna feel. So
I just
it's not
need
just be unlimited.
True. which is a good justification. They did a really good job with this show, especially of just like the writing. Because my whole thing about any form of entertainment, I need a good damn justification. I need it to be understand. And this one has some strong, good, like more than one. So I'm like, good on you guys. You guys did a really good job. But yeah, I get okay. So that's definitely where it's gonna be showing up in like Spider-Man is like, yeah, she's the ultimate threat. Spider-Man can't go against her on his own. She can create vibranium. There's a whole world that literally runs off this stuff, and she's straight up making it from air. This is the weapon that people die over, and she's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna make it out of my man.
Let's take another question because we have a whole bunch. We're gonna try to get through as many as we can.
Do you think that the vision that they allowed Wanda to see was a decoy? Because at the end of Infinity Wars, he was gray, but when she went to see him, he was back to being red or purple.
Ooh,
I don't think it was a decoy, but you are thinking on the right lines because I think what we saw in that autopsy, that dismantling, was kind of a show. It was like, that wouldn't be how SWORD agents really worked on Vision's body. Hayward set that up in order to manipulate Wanda into trying to be like, no, let me take him, let me try to bring him back to life, and that's what Hayward wanted. So, but I don't think it was a decoy. I think what you're seeing is just like the Infinity War artist. It wasn't like gray vision, it was just desaturated vision.
Yeah.
And I think that's what WandaVision is showing us. It's just desaturated, and that means corpse vision. I don't think it's like two different visions. One's full gray, and one is like gray, but also a bit of red hue in there.
I agree. But that would have been a very fun rogue theory.
Yeah, and who knows? We might be wrong. That might be. You might have.
It might be a decoy.
Like, bring out the decoy vision corpse. Make this one real wiry inside. Yeah.
Also, our theory that she was just slinging a corpse around in there is completely false now. And I'm actually happy for that because they probably were like, Disney was like, you guys are madmen if you think we just put a corpse flying around in this.
Just ragdolling a corpse, just bleeding everywhere.
Literally. We literally believed it. We were like, yeah, they straight up dug up his body and just started flying it around.
All right, let's take another question.
Where do you think Monica and Pietro are right now? Because this time has passed, and they didn't show a single bit of them.
I don't think that much time has passed. That's my theory. I think everything we saw in this episode occurred in maybe 60 seconds. It was like a blink of an eye. It was a mental conversation that was happening. I don't think... I don't think
it was. I think it was maybe a little bit longer, even if it was a blink of the eye. I think it was the same. While that was happening, mirroring the same time was Pietro, Monica, and then Vision finding them. Because I think that's what we're going to get next episode, and that's why we're going to jump into Wanda still in her. Because in a lot of the trailers, she's wearing that tracksuit. She's wearing that. So I think that's like, we're just going to jump right back into it. We're going to jump right back into it, baby. It's going to be quick.
Yeah.
But
I don't think we're definitely going to jump right back into it. I think episode 9 is going to open with like Monica's next month. You might see a bit of a battle between Monica and Pietro. I don't think we're going to see a team up just because it now seems like Pietro is really just an extension of Agatha. And then Vision's going to help Monica overcome Pietro. And it's, they're going to team up as a result of that battle. So I think
Monica's going to go against Pietro, and Vision's going to go against Vision, and then Agatha.
It's going to be a big, massive brawl. It's going to be a classic Monday Night Raw Rumble. It's going to be
pay-per-view, baby. Pay-per-view. They're going to make you pay for the last episode, and Disney knows I would. That's the trick. That's the damn catch. If Disney was like $40 for the last episode, I'd be like, I'm pulling out my wallet.
When White Vision comes in, you're going to hear the glass breaking sound effect and the siren, and then he's just going to do Stone Cold and then chug a beer, and he's like...
Ooh,
and that's the bottom line.
With the chair.
Because White Vision said so.
I love that. Wanda literally watched every old-timey Hollywood show and then started watching WWE. She started watching WWE in 2001 and was like, ooh... This is good.
All right, let's take another question.
Do you think that it's possible that the Human Torch shows up in the finale like he does in the West Coast Avengers run?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about that too.
That's another thing that's from the comics. Yeah, Human Torch, there's like suspicion because originally Vision's body was made from the original Golden Age Human Torch. I think there's like a link between them, not Johnny Storm, like the old Human Torch. So Human Torch comes back in this West Coast Avengers storyline. If you look at these comics, it's like, why is Johnny Storm there? Because he's part of it, and so a lot of people think like, oh, is Vision connected to Johnny Storm, to the Human Torch? That was part of the misdirect with bringing him back. I don't think Human Torch is going to show up in this.
It would also confuse people too.
Way too big.
Yeah. I think it would be too many. It would be too many hands in the pot, too many levels, too much confusion. But I mean, I love the idea.
And that's the argument
so
a lot of people make towards Mephisto. Like, it'd be too confusing. I'm like, no, I think this table is set for some kind of demonic entity, whether it's Mephisto, Nightmare, or someone. But like if you were to bring in a member of the Fantastic Four, they're so big in the world of Marvel that like that's going to overshadow all the witchcraft, all the depression, all the human story that they're telling. I don't think we're going to get we may be in a post-credit scene or something like that. But then
that's what I think we're going to get. That's what I think we're going to get.
Yeah, it's not going to be Human Torch in that case.
I don't think so. No. I think it's gonna be Mephisto. I think and then that's gonna be like, oh, here's you're sad, you're crying, and then at the end of the credits, you're like, yes, I was right.
I'll just lay down and rest. Finally, I'll sleep for 17 years and then
curl up into a ball.
And then come out as a butterfly.
I'm gonna Jeepers Creepers it. I'm gonna come back every 23rd spring or whatever. Jeepers Creepers. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be Human Torch. Unfortunately.
Erik, witches can be good. They can.
You heard her.
Sure.
You heard
I guess
them.
witches can be good. You're right. Witches can be good. We saw
Halloween Town, Raven Simone.
Halloween Town, Raven.
The Witch of the
Can we bring up Raven every episode of it?
I hate you so. I rewatched that just to be the confusion on my face of when you were like, "It's the future she can see." I was like, Raven from Teen Titans. I was like, what? Yeah. And then I was like, you're an idiot. I'm not the idiot. You're the idiot.
Yes. Raven's good. There's lots of good witches out there. And I'm just saying this coven in particular did not look like a good group of witches. Good. And they did not look like a group that wanted to be good. I think she meant good like, I can be one of you. I can be not as dark as you accuse me of being. I just thought it was interesting that they have their own definition of good. Which is just killing local kids. I'll just eat shit, kids, you know.
Hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Before we continue, thank you to Bang Energy for sponsoring this video. Every can of Bang Energy has 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugars, and 0 artificial flavors. Each 16-ounce can contains 300 milligrams of caffeine, super creatine, CoQ10, and BCAAs. I am sipping on Rainbow Unicorn. Not like those Thundercloud unicorns. The unicorns that make you feel happy when you sip them. It's just sweet and light, like you're on the back of a unicorn leaping over a more depressed unicorn. I honestly rely on Bangs when I'm shooting those early morning after shows, and I don't want my eyes to look like I'm half asleep. When I'm trying to break down these Easter eggs, I need my mind to be alert. Check out Bang on Instagram. You can get 10% off your order at bangenergy.com when you use the code NewRockstars10. Rainbow! There you can buy a variety pack of Bang Energy or grab a 12-pack of Citrus Twist, Bangsterberry, the new Delish Strawberry Kiss. Use my code NewRockstars10 and receive 10% off your Bang Energy order. That's code NewRockstars10 for 10% off. All right.
So when Agatha said she had like the basic protection spell runes on her wall, did you see that there was one that was an M? Because I know Erik, like, this could really just feed into the Mephisto train. Like, I'm on that train too.
Dang, you guys are feeding his Mephisto needs.
Yes!
Y'all just giving it to him now. You guys just want him to be... You guys are cheering him on to be wrong.
It did look kind of like an M. One looked like a crop circle a little bit. I think they were trying to make it look like some kind of old language, some old runes. To me, it didn't look so much like an M, just like, oh, it has like 3 downward kind of things, swooshes, swopes. But if Mephisto is in this, I don't think we'll be able to go back to that rune and be like, aha, that's what it was. That was the clue that told us that it was Mephisto. I think he's going to come out of the Darkhold if he is in this, or he's going to, that rabbit's going to turn into a famous actor that Paul Bettany has always wanted to work with, who's not himself.
Paul Bettany.
He's just also playing.
Paul Bettany is literally playing. This is the Eddie Murphy. He's playing every character.
He's been doing a great Elizabeth Olsen impression this whole time.
Yeah, ooh.
He's so talented. Let's take another question.
Do you think that White Vision will share any of the memories of original Vision?
So this, it goes back to what we talked about a little bit. This is where I was like, it's just gonna be like Gamora all over again, where they're gonna have to teach her what she was before they got the new Gamora. That's why I don't think he'll have the Vision memories. That's why, just because it's so close to that storyline, I think they wouldn't do that.
See, I don't think White Vision's gonna say anything. I think he's gonna be just a creepy mute who Vision fights with, kind of like Bizarro Superman and Superman 3. The Richard Pryor one, the best one. It's not, but it's crazy and goofy and silly, and I love it.
I was reading online on Twitter where everyone was like, what if he has Ultron's voice? And I was like, Ultron had the hottest voice in the world, so I am completely down with that. But
they're gonna drop someone. They're gonna bring James Spader back in the ADR booth. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna talk at all. And if he does talk and have Paul Bettany's voice, I'll be a little irritated. I'll be like, oh, come on, you guys rebooted him.
Literally rebooted him. I think he will. I think we will see a version of Vision in the future that has Vision's full memories. I think their the body of White Vision and then the consciousness, the walking consciousness that is this Vision, will get merged, and then from that we'll get a moment where he remembers everything, and it may just be like a fleeting moment in the finale where Wanda and Vision connect finally before they go their separate ways. But yeah, I don't think Paul Bettany's done after WandaVision. I think he's got some future ahead of him, even if it's just a simple Jarvis-y AI that's called Vision going forward, training future Avengers like Charlie and Charlie's Angels. Oh
yeah, won't he be helping the X-Men eventually? Oh, sorry. You the next one.
Yeah,
I thought he in the comics he definitely was as the White Avenger for a minute.
Yeah, he does for a bit. And Vision's voice kind of is the impetus to the Young Avengers forming. You know, you have Nathaniel Richards, who's kind of like Iron Lad, who's like a descendant of Reed Richards in the distant future. And then his future is to become Kang the Conqueror, but they're kind of separate people in a way. And then so
he's trying not to become that.
Yeah, young Nathaniel Richards ends up getting some kind of like Stark tech, or no, is it like Reed Richards tech? And then he goes back to the present day and finds Vision's
Vision
AI
and like
voice.
Takes his
and
he becomes basically Vision.
It's kind of a mix of Vision and Iron Man tech, because he's like, Vision's like, here's how we have to restart the Avengers initiative. So that voice ends up kind of guiding him to become Iron Lad and then find Patriot and Hulkling and all the others.
Y'all, it's comic books. It overlaps in the most confusing way, but it just is endless. It is so endless.
Yeah. Let's take another question.
What's your theory on when Wanda created or basically took over Westview, how everything was red with the exception of when she was bringing Vision back, it was yellow, similar to the Mind Stone?
Yeah, I think you said it, right? It's not it's a truth, not an illusion in that case. The fact that Vision comes back this kind of golden glow, I think that color is a direct reference to the Mind Stone, and that's the link between them, and that's why she kind of has this love. I think that's why he's different. It was a way to communicate to the audience, be like, the way she's building him is kind of a life force. It's not a false negative thing.
I agree.
Concur.
I concur.
Yeah, I don't have any theory beyond your question. I think you have a very good take on it. Yeah, you said it, man.
Good job, my dude.
Do you think that Westview was actually the perfect place for Wanda to do the Hex? unintentionally, just because it looked like that town was deserted and people were in grief. Like Mrs. Hart looks sad.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. What do you think?
They tried to make it like she assimilated it for a good reason. Like the episode of Rick and Morty, how it was like she went to the planet and literally like everything was upside down until I showed up and took over their bodies.
Based off our nipples before you came here.
You don't understand. Westview was crazy. Yeah. What are your nipples? Where are normal nipples? But
another example of like post-blip Marvel world. I love it. I love seeing people try to put pieces back together. Again, they did that same thing that like Scott Lang walking through San Francisco. There were no leaf blowers during the blip. People just let things overgrow. All the gardeners got blipped. So.
Oh no, what are we gonna do without the gardeners? But
yeah, I think that was perfect. All these people were sad, kind of aimless, and I think by the time this
but now they're in
pain.
I don't think it's good.
Grateful.
No,
I think it was good
sad.
that they got to escape. Is like it was an improvement on what they had before, and they're like, you know what? Even though she's painted as a villain right now, she gave me something that helped alleviate my grief for a period of time. Then again, you could say Abby Lash was freaked out. He's like, I want to call my family.
Yeah, my dad's dead now. Thanks.
Wrong on that.
I don't know. I thought more so what you were saying was like they're looking back at it like, oh, I'm thankful for what I have now because what I had before was painful and I hated it. I'm also kind of like irritated that like we were like, oh, why Westview? Why did she come to Westview? And the reason she came to Westview is because that was the plot of land that they were gonna buy. I thought there was like Westview was very specific. Like it's weird that there's also a missing person there, and they were also gonna build a house there, and it's just by coincidence. I was like, come on, I want.
Well, to me, I like that, Jessica. I like that it was a simple emotional reason, and that's when you're trying to reveal stuff. Usually, it's much better if it's like simpler. It's grounded. It's something that makes you cry a little bit, and I think that was awesome. I like that. I prefer that, honestly, to it being there happens to be a magnetic hellhole nexus point that just happens to be under this New Jersey town. I think that would be too wild. I think it's now. I don't know why Vision thought this small little New Jersey town would be the best place to retire. My friend.
Also, you can't change. Well, I guess
has no state income tax.
I'm just saying, Washington State has so much land that you could use and don't have to worry about the sad neighbors that you have. And it's basically the sad neighbors that you have. Stop. It's not.
Jessica and I come from polar opposite ends of the continental United States.
We do, and that is also why. Yeah, come to the Pacific Northwest. We have whales. They have alligators. We have whales. Both can kill you, but ours are like they don't know better. They don't know better. Tilikum is from Washington. Haven't you seen Blackfish, the documentary where it's an evil whale? It's from Washington.
He's not evil. He's misunderstood and trapped.
He is misunderstood. I'm sorry, you guys that are whale fans. He was hella misunderstood, but he is also from Washington State. That's our claim to fame. No, Tilly comes first. Tilly comes first, and then everybody, and then Matt Groening. But going back, I did like that.
And then,
don't you even start with Jimi Hendrix again. I will jump through this screen and choke you out. So that was very violent. It's really early and I had 2 Red Bulls. I will jump through this screen and punch a hole in your heart. So I really like that scene in WandaVision where Agatha, and this is why I think I wanted more of a reason, because I like that Agatha was like, you did all this magic and I sensed it. That's why I came here. She was like, I felt that crap from light years away and was like, I'm showing up to what this is. That's why I was like, I like there being a reasoning, because it was like Agatha just showed up randomly. It's like, no, your power was so big you didn't even think that it would cause people to come look for you, that people wouldn't come and be like, what's going on here? Like other magicians.
I like the idea of like witch spidey sense, so that they can sense each other and be like, I must go to what that is. Like they wake up and they're like, oh, my hair's weird today.
I love the idea of ooh, my knee hurts. A storm's coming, or there's a witch in New Jersey. So I love that. I love that idea of just like, girl, you thought rupturing this like little town was gonna not call awareness to other villains? Like, you think villains weren't gonna show up and be like, I'm gonna try harvesting this power?
I don't think she cared. And I think to answer the question
That's
earlier,
That's true.
She might have looked around Westview and just saw how sad these people were. I think in that moment she was just thinking about her and her grief.
She was being selfish in the right ways. Because after that, when she went, I was like, do it, girl. I said, take it over, assimilate, do everything. I don't care. I'm heartbroken for you. Mm-hmm. Oh, that scene. I was like, do it.
We have time for one more question that we're going to
take this question.
It's kind of off topic, but do the Avengers get paid? So how did Wanda and Vision get that property?
They, according to, which I don't know in the MCU, but in the comic books they get a stipend, because there's a comic book where when Wanda like kind of goes off again, she makes Iron Man look bad and drunk in front of everyone. So everyone's like, oh, we don't want anything to do with him. So they lose their money and he can't give money to the Avengers anymore. And that's how she like did it in like a weird, like stockbroker crashing way of just being like, I'm just going to mess with his appearance to make him lose money. So they are getting money through a stipend in the comic books, in some of the comic books. I don't know about the MCU. I'm sure they better get like a fortune. They're putting their lives on the line.
Tony Stark has always been independently wealthy, and it seemed like he just used his own money to fund the Avengers compound, and that all of their expenses were just kind of covered, room and board, and what else do they really need? But like for sure, Hawkeye was working for S.W.O.R.D. Before the Avenger Initiative came together, and he was able to afford like a farmhouse. He was probably not that high up on the payroll. But I assume they're making six figures at least to kind of cover their needs.
Do you think they get mad at each other's different income? Like Hawkeye looks at Captain America and is just like, how much you make? He's like, I don't want to talk about it. He's like, I don't want to talk about it. And you know, Captain America was like, we don't need to talk about this. We shouldn't be asking each other's, rates in person like this. You should really just like, we shouldn't talk about it. HR for the Avengers is like, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
We did an episode of Big Question talking about how much the Avengers get paid and who is the poorest Avenger. And I think we concluded that over his lifetime, Bruce Banner has been the poorest because he's been like homeless for most of his life. Just kind of walking around Mexico.
Okay, that's choosing. He chose most of his like path. I would technically say that the poorest one is probably Thor, because he's like, what do I need your money for? And then goes, zoo, 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 and flies away. So he's not getting, he's like, what's money?
Yeah, he's like,
what's money? What do I
we
do
abolished capital back 4,000 years ago.
Yeah, he's like, he laughs at
He pulls out the Communist Manifesto and he gives you a whole Marxist lecture, and then you're like, huh, that actually could work. And then
Captain America says, I'm leaving this. And then that's where we get Black Adam. And he comes from DC into Marvel.
Yeah, I assume that, or maybe just property value in Westview, New Jersey is real cheap.
It definitely is. You saw that place. I'm not trying to be rude, but you saw the location. And location means a lot. And that looked like it was pretty cheap. My hometown looks just like that, you guys. I kid you not. And it's cheap there. My rent was $600 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Oof. Oh. You can't get that in LA. That doesn't even exist in LA. You could probably get a toilet.
That's a box on Skid Row.
Oh, absolutely. $600 a month. I was living it, and I didn't even know at that time. This is now a podcast where I talk about commercial real estate.
Well, we want to thank you guys so much. It's been so great to hear your questions. There's a lot more that we're going to be talking about this upcoming final episode of WandaVision and episode 8 on the channel. We got a new title for Spider-Man, No Way Home. Falcon Winter Soldier is coming up. It's such an exciting time. Jessica, I want to thank you. It's been so great talking about episode 8 with you. I can't wait to talk about the finale with you. It's going to be so great. We're going to get the finale,
and then no one will hear of me again. I go back into the shadows, into underneath my bed.
I'm gonna go under my bed too, just to sleep, because I can't sleep.
Oh,
it's
yes,
just
I forgot.
too hard because I'm like thinking oh wait, no, this WandaVision theory could be the case. Like I got to go to a place that.
Is it because you don't have the Helix mattress?
Oh, I have the Helix mattress.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. Just going back to brands, you can pop a pill and pop a bone.
Oh my god.
You said it. You said it. That was your ad. I didn't say that.
You're right. Well, thank you so much. Be sure to follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemons. Follow me at EA Voss. Follow New Rockstars. Be sure to subscribe to New Rockstars on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. And be sure to check out one of our many great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. And we love all of you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.